Howdy, everyone. It's Reese, aka Bearman Prime, on this August 13th. Welcome back to my Read the Bible in a Year series. Thank you again for joining me and watching. God bless you all. Card in the top right hand corner for the rest of the playlist. And please hit the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell so you're caught up. All right, so we're going to continue today in Luke chapter 14, and we're going to continue on with a theme that we read about yesterday, and that's the idea of a dinner party, or the kingdom of heaven being like a dinner party with guests sitting at certain places at the table, and God, Jesus being at the head of the table. Let's continue on here. Let's go back to Luke 14 and pick it up in verse 15. One of the men sitting at the table with Jesus heard these things. A man said to him, "It will be a great blessing for anyone to eat a meal in God's kingdom." Jesus said to him, "A man gave a big dinner. He invited many people. When it was time to eat, he sent his servant to tell the guests, 'Come, the food is ready.' But all the guests said they could not come. Each one made an excuse. The first one said, 'I have just bought a field, so I must go look at it. Please excuse me.' Another man said, 'I have just bought 5 pairs of work animals. I must go and try them out. Please excuse me.' A third man said, 'I just got married. I can't come.' So the servant returned and told his master what happened. Master was angry. He said, 'Hurry! Go into the streets and alleys of the town. Bring me the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame.' Later the servant said to him, 'Master, I did what you told me to do, but we still have places for more people.' Master said to the servant, 'Go out to the highways and country roads. Tell the people there to come. I want my house to be full. None of those people I invited first will get to eat any of this food.'" Verse 25. Many people were traveling with Jesus. He said to them, "If you come to me but will not leave your family, you cannot be my follower. You must love me more than your father, mother, wife, children, brothers, and sisters, even more than your own life. Whoever will not carry the cross that is given to them when they follow me cannot be my follower. If you wanted to build a building, you would first sit down to decide how much it would cost. You must see if you have enough money to finish the job. If you don't do that, you might begin the work, but you would not be able to finish. And if you could not finish it, everyone would laugh at you. They would say, 'This man began to build, but he was not able to finish.' If a king is going to fight against another king, first he will sit down and plan. If he has only 10,000 men, he will try to decide if he is able to defeat the other king who has 20,000 men. If he thinks he cannot defeat the other king, he will send some men to ask for peace while that king's army is still far away. It is the same for each of you. You must leave everything you have to follow me. If not, you cannot be my follower." Verse 34. Salt is a good thing, but if the salt loses its salty taste, you can't make it salty again. It is worth nothing. You can't even use it as dirt or dung. People just throw it away. You people who hear me, listen. All right, so that first part, Jesus is using the example of a big dinner feast as a picture of what is happening and what's going to happen with God's kingdom. So, man gives a big dinner feast. Okay, so this is the man in this case is the Lord, is God. And he's putting on this big dinner feast. And he invites all these people. Now, the people he invites first is the nation of Israel, his chosen people. They are the ones that he chose to be his people. So he is inviting them into his home, right? But when the servant, Jesus, okay, so Jesus is the servant in this case, goes out to gather the guests, Israel, they don't come. They make excuses in the story, but for whatever reason, Israel does not answer God's call. They do not answer the call of the servant. So then what happens? The man, God, becomes angry with his guests, the ones he invited, and say, "Fine, go out to the alleys and the corners of town, bring in the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, bring in all the destitute people you can, bring them in." So these are the lost souls of Israel. So these are not necessarily the upper echelon of Israeli society at this time, not the Pharisees, the teachers of the law, the people who claim to know God, but these are the lost souls, the fishermen, the tax collectors, the sinners, and then the crippled, the lame, the blind, people who, are not given a second thought. They are brought in first at the high places of the table. So think about Jesus and his apostles. Who does he choose for his apostles? Just like I said, fishermen, tax collectors, the lowliest of lowly men. Okay, he chose them to be his apostles. The King of Kings and Lord of Lords didn't choose teachers of the law, Pharisees, priests, or anything like that for his closest students. He chose these lowly men to be his apostles. And then later the servant says, "Hey, I did what you said, but there's still room. We have more seats." And then the man God says, "Go out to the countryside and the hills and bring in more people. I want my house to be full." Now that is an allusion to later on when God will extend his grace to the whole world, to the Gentiles, not just the Jews, but also the Gentiles. He is extending his grace and allowing all peoples to be a part of his family, to be a part of his kingdom. Okay. And that's the age we live in now, the age of grace. Okay. And then we finish up with a part that we've read before in other books, but it's again the part where Jesus is telling me that if you love your family or if you love your life more than you love me, then you cannot be my follower. Okay. Now, that's a hard thing for us to wrap our heads around, but it's still true. Jesus must be first in our lives, no matter what. Okay. You know what? Yeah, and I get it. I'm married. I have a daughter. Okay. I'm a family man. I have a job. All those things are important. But if I have to list out the things that are important in, a certain order, it's Jesus, my wife, my daughter. Okay. Three most important people in my life in that order. Jesus must come before even my wife, right? That's the same with all of us. We must choose to follow Jesus above all things. For whatever reason, our spouse or our family or our friends are preventing us from following Jesus. Well, what's more important to you? Hopefully it's Jesus, right? And then the last part, he again uses the metaphor of salt. If salt loses its saltiness, then it becomes useless. If we lose our faith, if we lose our, the thing that makes us special to God, our spirit, then we're worthless, right? But to God, we are priceless. Unless we just so here he uses the metaphor of the salt again. So if salt loses its saltiness, then it's worthless. So this is an example or a picture for us to don't lose our influence. If we want to do the work that Jesus has asked us to do, but we don't have the influence, if we don't have the spirit within us to help others, then what we do is mean. We can, read and preach all day long, but if there's no love, there's no spirit in it, pointless. Okay. All right. Well, that's all for today. We're going to pick it up there tomorrow. Thank you again for joining me. I sure do appreciate it. I'll see y'all tomorrow.